Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Anthony Palmer, docket numbers 20-871FH and 21-133FH. This is the time set for sentencing. Mr. Palmer, can you just confirm for me that you are in agreement with doing the sentencing remotely instead of bringing you here to the courthouse?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Thank you. So, Mr. Palmer, on this one file, you were convicted of domestic assault and battery third offense. That's a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. And on the second file, again, convicted of domestic assault and battery third offense, a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and you are represented by Mr. Yang. Mr. Yang, you told me you have had a chance to go through the pre-sentence report with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Actually, I do to the body as well as the scoring. I've spoken to Ms. Adler. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Let's do the body of the report first.
All right. So the cover page, where top right, appointed or retained, I am appointed in this matter.
Got it.
If we go to the evaluation and pay and plan section, they emailed it to me, so it might not be in the same page order as what you guys have. So, but evaluation and plan section, it is the fourth paragraph. It's like the second to last sentence. Currently, it reads, the later conviction involved the defendant traveling to Atlanta to locate the current victim. I would like that to be changed to the later conviction involved the defendant traveling to Atlanta with the current victim. The information I received from Mr. Palmer is that they traveled there together. The way it's currently written seems as if he went there to find her, and that is not the case.
Okay, I changed it to with.
All right, and just a few other minor changes in the family section. He has a brother that's listed there. Just want to correct the name. Tyrone is missing an E.
Bell? Tyrone
Yes.
Bell?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Tyrone Bell,
Great.
yes.
Yeah, I added the E.
And then after that, in the marriage section, we need to add Javon Jackson. First name is spelled J-A-V as in Victor, O-N. Last name is Jackson. That's his son, 22 years old, and resides in Allendale, Michigan.
Okay, I added that.
And the last change to the body is under the health section. We'd like to add that his other health conditions are seizures, as well as MRSA. It's MRSA.
Currently?
Currently.
At the jail?
Currently. He had a procedure done while he was at the jail. That is the medical condition that I've kind of tiptoed around without naming, Your Honor. So while he was there, he had to have a surgery done. So
Any medication for those two conditions?
Mr. Palmer, do you take any medications for those two conditions?
Well, I take seizure medication.
Do you know what it's called?
Capra.
Can you spell it for me?
C-A-P-R-A.
Okay. And then anything for the MRSA?
I actually went through a couple of, I ended up having to take like three different types of antibiotics. Yeah, but
Okay.
I completed those.
Okay, I just put antibiotics. Okay. Anything else to change, Mr. Yang?
Nothing to the body, Your Honor.
Okay, then how about the scoring? You said there was, were they stipulated to or objections?
There are changes that have been stipulated to, except for one, I believe. Is that correct,
Okay.
Ms. Allen? Okay, all right. And so docket number 20-871FH, PRV 6 is currently scored at 5. The stipulation is to change it to 0.
Okay,
Changing the PRV total to 20. That changes the level. It does change the level to a C.
okay,
The OVs, 8 is currently scored at 15, stipulated to be 0.
all right.
And then OV 19 is what Ms. Allen and I disagreed upon.
Okay, let me just grab it and see what, you would think by now I'd have them all memorized, but for some reason I don't. So OV 19.
It's the interference with the administration
Yep.
of justice, I believe.
I'm there. Okay, go ahead. What's your argument, Mr. Yang?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident in the police report, there is mention of Mr. Palmer trying to evade the police, but he was never charged with resisting or obstructing. He was having, in my opinion, was having an episode at that time. And so I believe that it should be scored at 0 and not 10 because of those facts.
Okay, Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. In the agent's description of the offense in the PSI, they do discuss what happened, and I think it qualifies under OV 19. As the court knows, we don't need a conviction in order to be able to score it. It says that the defendant was, the officers are looking at surveillance monitors, and the defendant was seen walking up to the lobby. He was told to stop and talk to the officer. However, he failed to comply, saying he was going to check himself into the loony bin and fled out the door, running first northbound on Cedar before reversing course and running southbound until he was arrested. So I believe that's why it was scored at 10. I think that's factual support for scoring it that way. Thank you.
Yeah, there does not have to be a conviction, and that behavior certainly qualifies for the scoring of OV 19. So I will leave it at 10 points as it is. And that was your only contested one, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So let me ask you though, on the other docket, 21-133, does PRV 6 change as well on that?
No, that stays 10. Ms. Allen and I both agree that there are no changes to docket 21-133.
Yeah, okay, got it. So then
that would
on
change and on docket 28-71, that would change the OV level to 10, which would change it to a level 2.
Okay, so we're at C2. This is on the E grid.
And I believe it's 0 to 11.
You are correct. Oh. Okay.
And that is all I have for the PSI, Your Honor.
Okay, then did the people have any other corrections to the report?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and was there a victim who wished to be heard?
No, Your Honor.
Did the people wish to be heard?
Only to say, Your Honor, I'm concerned based on some of the statements the defendant has made in this PSI about denying the assault, even though he did lay the factual basis for it. Also that he does not, there's a concern about abiding by the no contact order. And perhaps a lot of this boils down to some mental health issues that we can hopefully get him some help for while he is under the jurisdiction of the court. But I do have some, this will be up to him to benefit from a probationary period and this jail sentence for the court. But I am concerned. We've had people come in and admit what they did and say that they're going to try and change, and I'm not seeing that here so far. So the people are apprehensive. We'd still ask the court to follow the Killebrew agreement, but there's deep concerns in this PSI with the defendant's description of what happened and what he keeps planning on doing.
All right, thank you. Mr. Yang, I'll hear from you then.
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess I'm a little confused about the PSI because the recommendation, there's one recommendation of just a period of probation of 24 months, and then there's another one there in the body of the recommendation. It sounds like it's looking for 365 days plus the 24 months. I would ask at this time that Your Honor sentence Mr. Palmer to a term of probation. We talked a little bit about his health issues. That is a major concern of mine as well as his. There is no objection. I've talked to Mr. Palmer, no objection to a GPS tether. He does have a child with the victim in this case, and he would like to be a part of that child's life. He's not even seen his child at all. Child was born while he's incarcerated and is only a few months old. Mr. Palmer does plan to reestablish his trade as an auto mechanic. He was an auto mechanic in the past and would like to continue doing that. While in jail, he hasn't been sitting idly. He has been in CATS, has been in Bible study, and is trying to reestablish his faith while he's incarcerated right now. I believe that a term of probation would be adequate in this case, allowing him to do some treatment, some anger management, AANA, and potentially take some mental health treatment. We did attempt the specialty court, but unfortunately he was not eligible for the specialty court. So at this time, I would ask that you sentence him to a term of probation and hold those jail days in your back pocket should there be an issue. And the part of the recommendation is that if he violates the no contact order, that he immediately go to jail, do not pass go type of thing. And that is something that definitely is within the discretion of Your Honor. And lastly, I do believe Mr. Palmer is indigent, and I would ask that you waive as many of the fines and costs as possible, as he is essentially homeless at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. And now your turn, Mr. Palmer. Is there anything you wanted to say?
Your Honor, I accept responsibility for my actions, and I just ask for mercy from the court. And I do regret.
All right.
I do regret what happened.
Okay, thank you. Well, I share the prosecutor's concern here, and for what is really no reason at all, not that any reason would ever justify it, but no reason but some minor argument or minor dispute, and it results in an assault, a serious assault on this victim, and both these files are the same victim. That is of great concern. And I am willing to adopt the recommendation, but I have to warn you that I will consider one of the most important conditions of probation is going to be no contact with this victim, because she's clearly at risk in the company of you, Mr. Palmer. So I don't care if she's in agreement with it and wants to have contact. I don't care what the circumstances are. You may not have contact with Ms. Gamblin. And if you violate that condition of probation, I'll consider it a very serious violation of probation. But we'll take a try at probation here. And on docket number 20-871FH, I'm going to state before I forget to say this, that now with the adjusted guidelines is an intermediate sanction. And I think a jail sentence is reasonable in that regard, because it represents, the facts of that case represent a very serious assault on the victim, a strangulation, which is a lethal, potentially lethal type of an assault. And Mr. Palmer has 2 previous convictions for domestic assault and battery, and I don't know who the first one was on, but the second one, the misdemeanor, was on the same victim as these 2 felonies. So I think a jail sentence is reasonable on that intermediate sanction case. So on docket number 20-871FH, on probation for a period of 24 months, 11 months in jail with credit for 89 days served. You have to pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $68 in state costs. I'm waiving oversight fees and waiving costs to the county. And I'll get to the conditions of probation in just one moment, but also a concurrent term of probation on docket number 21-133FH of 24 months, 365 days in jail with credit for 92 days served, $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $68 in state costs. I'm waiving oversight fees and waiving costs to the county. Now, the conditions of probation on these concurrent terms of probation are no use or possession of alcoholic beverages or controlled substances, comply with both drug and alcohol testing as your probation agent directs. You must complete a substance abuse assessment if you are referred by the agent, complete any outpatient or residential substance abuse treatment that's recommended for you, take medication as prescribed by a licensed physician. You must complete mental health or domestic violence or batterer intervention or other recommended treatment. You must waive confidentiality and allow any treatment program you're required to attend to disclose information about you to your agent. You must comply with Michigan Department of Corrections electronic monitoring that'll be curfew tethered for a period of 120 days. You must not engage in any assaultive, abusive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. No contact with anyone you know to have a felony record. You must not change your residence unless you first get written permission from the agent. You must not possess a weapon while you're on probation. You must comply with the written and verbal orders of the agent. Let the agent into your home at any time. Submit to a search of your person or property without need of a warrant. Report any changes to your agent within 24 hours. You must be in your approved residence between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. unless you get permission otherwise from your agent. No contact with Kelly Gamblin, either directly or through another person. No contact means no verbal contact, no written contact, no electronic contact, no in-person contact. Also means you may not be within 500 feet of her residence, school, or place of employment. You must contact your agent within 24 hours of your release from jail. Mr. Palmer, you have the right to file an application for leave to appeal your conviction and your sentence in this matter. You're entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. It will explain that more on a form that we will mail to you at the jail. And we will also mail a petition where you, if you qualify, and I can tell you right now, I don't think you do, but if you qualify, and the form will explain whether you do or not, you can petition yourself for early discharge from probation. And that will conclude the sentencing hearing. Do you have any questions, Mr. Palmer?
I'm not sure about the jail time.
It's 365 days on the one file with 92 days credit, and it's 11 months on the other file, which is consistent with the sentencing guidelines, with 89 days credit. Okay?
Okay.
Then you can tell them at the jail you are all set.
All right.